Back to the Future, 1985, wasn't just a time travel adventure. It was a production disaster Hollywood tried to kill 44 times. The lead actor got fired after 6 weeks of shooting.
The director fired me. He didn't like my work.
His replacement worked 18-hour days between 2 jobs. Disney rejected it as too sexual, while other studios called it too wholesome. And the chairman wanted to rename it Spaceman from Pluto. These are 16 facts about the film that almost never made it to screens. Rejected 44 times. Bob Gale and Robert Zemeckis shopped their screenplay to every major Hollywood studio starting in 1980. The response was unanimous rejection. According to Gale, they pitched the concept at least 40 times, sometimes approaching the same studio twice when new executives took over. Studios gave 2 consistent explanations for passing.
It was a guy I'd have nothing to do with.
First, time travel pictures never earned money. Second, this story's too sweet and wholesome. Audiences want raunchier material like Porky's. Try pitching this to Disney instead. When Gale and Zemeckis actually approached Disney, executives immediately dismissed them. Disney's reasoning? The mother-son romantic subplot was far too inappropriate for their family-friendly brand. 4 years of constant rejection followed before any studio showed interest. Gary Goldberg refused to show Fox the script Michael J. Fox was Zemeckis and Gale's first choice from the beginning. His comedic timing on Family Ties as Alex P. Keaton seemed perfect for Marty's clumsy energy. Steven Spielberg asked Family Ties creator Gary David Goldberg to let Fox read the screenplay. Goldberg refused outright. He wouldn't even hand Fox the pages. His reasoning: fellow star Meredith Baxter was on maternity leave. Losing Fox simultaneously would devastate the sitcom's ratings. Goldberg protected his show by keeping Fox completely unaware. Back to the Future existed. This decision forced Zemeckis to explore alternatives. The casting search eventually included Johnny Depp, Ralph Macchio, John Cusack, Charlie Sheen, John Cryer, Ben Stiller, Robert Downey Jr., and Billy Zane. None felt right. The refrigerator and Coca-Cola versions. Early drafts of The Time Machine looked completely different from the DeLorean audiences recognize. One version placed Marty inside a refrigerator at a nuclear bomb test site. The atomic explosion would somehow propel him through time. Another iteration powered the entire device using Coca-Cola as fuel. The soft drink company would have funded production in exchange for product placement. Additionally, early scripts made Marty a video pirate who bootlegged recent blockbusters like Star Wars, Close Encounters, The Empire Strikes Back, and Superman. He'd sell these illegal copies to raise funds for Doc Brown's experiments. Universal executives hated this characterization, fearing it glorified copyright infringement. The video piracy subplot disappeared completely. Each rewrite brought the screenplay closer to the version audiences eventually saw. Professor Brown's pet chimp named Shemp. The original screenplay gave Doc Brown a chimpanzee companion named Shemp. Universal chairman Sid Sheinberg read the script and immediately demanded changes. His reasoning? No picture featuring a chimpanzee has ever earned money. The chimp became Einstein the dog. Sheinberg also insisted time travel meant box office poison and suggested retitling the project Spaceman from Pluto. Zemeckis showed this memo to Steven Spielberg, who wrote Sheinberg a letter complimenting his clearly humorous suggestions. Sheinberg realized Spielberg was mocking him and stopped offering further creative input. The sarcastic response saved the production from terrible decisions. Doc's pet became a sheepdog. The title remained intact. Sheinberg pushed Eric Stoltz over C. Thomas Howell. C. Thomas Howell, known for playing Ponyboy Curtis in The Outsiders, was the frontrunner after Fox became unavailable. Howell wanted the role. Zemeckis considered him seriously. However, Sid Sheinberg had recently attended an early screening of Mask, starring Eric Stoltz as Rocky Dennis. Sheinberg was deeply impressed by Stoltz's dramatic performance and pushed hard for his casting. The studio chief got his preference. Production began November 26, 1984, with Stoltz as Marty. From day one, Zemeckis felt uncomfortable with the choice, but Sheinberg had assured him they could reshoot everything if necessary. That promise would soon be tested in catastrophic fashion. Stoltz insisted everyone call him Marty. Eric Stoltz approached the role using method acting techniques from his theater training. He demanded the entire cast and crew address him exclusively as Marty, both on camera and during breaks. Nobody could call him Eric. He stayed in character constantly to maintain authenticity. This created immediate tension. Stoltz also interpreted the screenplay dramatically rather than comedically. During table reads, everyone else laughed and celebrated the witty dialogue. Stoltz spoke up. "I think it's actually a tragedy." He explained that Marty returns to a 1985 where his family are strangers who lived completely different lives. His original parents and siblings no longer exist. The material wealth doesn't compensate for losing your actual family. Stoltz's melancholy interpretation clashed fundamentally with Zemeckis' vision of lighthearted adventure. Stoltz injured Thomas F. Wilson repeatedly. During scenes where Marty and Biff physically confront each other, Stoltz refused to moderate his intensity. Thomas F. Wilson, playing Biff, politely asked Stoltz to hold back during their shoving match. Stoltz ignored the request. Take after take, Stoltz shoved Wilson with full strength, bruising Wilson's collarbones repeatedly. Wilson grew increasingly frustrated, but Stoltz maintained this wasn't personal. He needed authentic physicality for his performance. The method acting extended to every interaction. While other actors broke character between takes, Stoltz remained distant and serious. Crew members described an uncomfortable atmosphere. Cinematographer Dean Cundy later said most people privately hoped for Stoltz's removal. The set felt wrong. Something had to change. Obvious signs. Stoltz would be replaced. Weeks before Stoltz's termination, crew members noticed strange production decisions. Set designers received instructions not to dismantle the 1955 environments. Why preserve sets if filming was progressing normally? Cinematographer Dean Cundy questioned director choices during coverage. We'd shoot Christopher Lloyd's angle, but skip Marty's reverse shot. I'd ask, don't we need the other angle? Bob would say, no, let's not worry about that. They were deliberately avoiding Stoltz's coverage. Additionally, scenes featuring only Doc Brown discussing events with Marty were shot showing exclusively Lloyd. These weren't normal filming practices. Everyone sensed something drastic approaching. The crew knew before Stoltz did. Management was preparing to erase him. Zemeckis fired Stoltz after 34 shooting days, January 10, 1985. Zemeckis personally delivered the termination news to Stoltz. Decades later, Zemeckis called it the hardest meeting I've ever had in my life, and it was all my fault. I broke his heart. Stoltz had filmed numerous crucial sequences, including Marty traveling to 1955 in the DeLorean, the vehicle breaking down when he attempts returning, and his final scene arriving back in 1985. All that footage became unusable. Stoltz reportedly told his makeup artist he'd never understood why they cast him, since he wasn't a comedian. Bob Gale later suggested Stoltz might have felt relieved. Perhaps his agents pushed the gig, thinking Spielberg's involvement would boost his career. Regardless, 34 days of work vanished. The replacement cost $4 million added to the budget. Fox worked 18-hour days. Michael J. Fox began filming January 15, 1985. He had finally convinced Gary Goldberg to let him take the role while simultaneously continuing Family Ties. The schedule was punishing. Fox filmed the sitcom during daytime before traveling to Back to the Future locations at night. Frequently, he wouldn't reach home until early the following morning. Weekends pushed even later because Family Ties taped before live studio audiences. Teamster drivers responsible for transporting Fox home often had to physically carry the exhausted actor to bed. He'd collapse from exhaustion in the vehicle. This brutal routine continued through April when Family Ties wrapped for the season. Fox's dedication became legendary. His energy transformed the production atmosphere completely. Crew members immediately felt the improvement. Melora Hardin fired for being too tall. Melora Hardin, who later starred in The Office, had already filmed numerous scenes as Jennifer Parker opposite Eric Stoltz. She and Stoltz matched height-wise perfectly. When Fox replaced Stoltz, Hardin suddenly became a problem. At 17, she stood several inches taller than Fox's 5'4" frame. Zemeckis initially thought audiences might overlook the height difference. He surveyed female crew members for opinions. They unanimously assured him that the tall, pretty girl in high school rarely picks the cute short guy. Hardin was terminated. Claudia Wells, standing 5'3.5", replaced her. Fox later wrote that this prejudice inadvertently affected another cast member and expressed regret. Hardin found the experience crushing at 17 years old. 32. Visual effects shots. Despite its futuristic premise, Back to the Future contains merely 32 effects shots total. The iconic time travel effect used practical techniques. Crew members poured gasoline in straight lines, ignited it, then filmed the flames rushing forward. Editors sped up this footage during post-production, creating the blazing trails left when the DeLorean hits 88 miles per hour. Cinematographer Dean Cundy reflected, "Nowadays, it would all be digital. No way would you have fire and speeding cars around the stars." 1985 required dangerous practical methods. Modern productions would never risk actors near actual flames and high-speed vehicles. The limited effects forced creativity rather than spectacle. Rushed post-production. After release date moved forward, Back to the Future was originally scheduled for May 1985 release. Stoltz's replacement pushed everything to June 21st. Further delays moved it to July 19th, then August. After phenomenal test screenings, Chairman Sid Sheinberg made a bold gamble. He moved the premiere forward to July 3rd, providing 16 extra days during summer's most profitable period. This change offered approximately 100,000 additional screenings worth an estimated $40 million. However, it created brutal post-production pressure. The rushed schedule meant some effects remained incomplete. Editors worked frantically to finish. The gamble succeeded spectacularly. Back to the Future spent 11 weeks as the nation's highest-grossing picture, earning $398 million worldwide. Only one shot of Stoltz remains in the final cut. Despite filming for 34 days, Eric Stoltz appears in the finished movie exactly once. When Marty punches Biff in the face during the 1955 sequences, that's Stoltz's fist making contact. The shot was filmed from behind, showing only the back of Marty's head and his arm. Editors kept this single moment because reshooting it seemed unnecessary. Everything else got replaced. Decades of footage featuring Stoltz remained in Universal's vaults, rarely screened. The 25th anniversary Blu-ray release in 2010 finally included some Stoltz footage as bonus material. Fans could witness the alternate timeline where Stoltz remained Marty. The differences were striking. Stoltz played everything deadly serious. Fox brought manic energy. Crispin Glover criticized the film's morality. Crispin Glover, who played George McFly, publicly criticized the film's ending for decades afterward. He believed Marty's reward should be parents who love each other, not material wealth. The final timeline gives the McFly family expensive possessions, a new car, and Biff reduced to servitude as their valet. Glover considered this corporate messaging promoting wealth accumulation and consumerism. In 2015, Zemeckis acknowledged the ending was perfect for its time, but might differ if remade today. Gale disagreed entirely, saying he never apologized for that scene. American audiences generally accepted the conclusion happily. However, international viewers sometimes found the materialism troubling. The moral implications remain debated among film scholars. Steven Spielberg saved the title. When Sid Sheinberg suggested renaming the project Spaceman from Pluto, Robert Zemeckis panicked. The title was terrible. Changing it would destroy the film's identity. Zemeckis showed Sheinberg's memo to Steven Spielberg. Spielberg immediately recognized the problem. He wrote Sheinberg a carefully worded letter thanking him for his wonderfully humorous suggestions. The phrasing made clear Spielberg assumed Sheinberg was joking. Nobody could seriously propose that title, right? Sheinberg understood Spielberg's sarcasm. Embarrassed at being mocked by Hollywood's most powerful director, he abandoned all further creative notes. Spielberg's intervention protected the production from executive interference. Without that letter, audiences might have watched Spaceman from Pluto instead. The correct title survived through strategic mockery, rejected 44 times, shot with the wrong actor for 6 weeks, fired their leading lady for being tall, nearly titled Spaceman from Pluto, and became the highest-grossing picture of 1985 anyway. Back to the Future succeeded despite catastrophic production disasters that should have destroyed it. Subscribe for more stories about Hollywood's most improbable triumphs against impossible odds.